Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances, Olga Shishir Prabhupada. Welcome to everybody to today's class. In place of Chandramali Swami, I will be covering his class for him. He has requested me to cover his class because he's actually, I believe, preaching as usual. That's all our spiritual masters do is preach. So he's engaged in another program. So with everyone's blessings and permission, I will take the class in his place. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So we're going to be speaking from Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 3 verse 4, Canto 3, chapter 4, verse 25. And the chapter is entitled Vidur Approaches Maitreya. This is the chapter. It's a very, very, very powerful chapter where Vidura approaches Maitreya and asks a lot of questions, a lot of instructions. And it's very, very powerful because it's verses where we have to learn to apply it in ourselves, in our daily lives, in our day-to-day, in our personal life, in our family life, in our spiritual life. So very, very powerful questions. So this is one of them. So I'll read the Sanskrit and we'll go into the class. Vidura uvacha Dhyanam param svatma raha prakasham Yat aha yogeshvara ishvaraste vaktum bhavan no rati yat dvi vishnur bhritya sva bhrityartha kritas charanti. Translation. Vidura said, O Uddhava, because the servants of Vishnu, the Lord, wander in the interest of serving others, it is quite fit that you kindly describe the self-knowledge with which you have been enlightened by the Lord himself. Purport. The servants of the Lord are actually the servants of society. They have no interest in human society other than to enlighten it in transcendental knowledge. They are interested in imparting knowledge of the relationship of the living being with the Supreme Lord, the activities in that transcendental relationship, and the ultimate goal of human life. That is the real knowledge which can help society achieve the real aim of human welfare. Knowledge in the matter of the bodily necessities of eating, sleeping, mating, and fearing, transformed into various branches of advancement of knowledge, is all temporary. A living being is not the material body, but an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Being. And thus, revival of his self-knowledge is essential. Without this knowledge, the human life is baffled. The servants of the Lord Vishnu are entrusted with this responsible work, and so they wander over the earth and to all other planets in the universe. Thus, the knowledge which was received by Uddhava directly from the Lord deserves to be distributed in human society, especially to persons like Vidura, who are highly advanced in devotional service of the Lord. Real transcendental knowledge descends in a disciplic succession from the Lord to Uddhava, from Uddhava to Vidura, and so on. Such supreme transcendental knowledge is not possible to achieve by the process of imperfect speculation, as performed by the so-called learned mundane wranglers. Vidura was anxious to know from Uddhava that confidential knowledge known as Paramam Sthitim, in which the Lord is known by his transcendental pastimes. Although Vidura was older than Uddhava, he was anxious to become a servant of Uddhava in the transcendental relationship. This formula of transcendental disciplic succession is taught by Lord Chaitanya also. Lord Chaitanya advises that one receive transcendental knowledge from anyone, whether a Brahmana or a Sudra, a householder or a sannyasi, provided that the person is factually conversant with the science of Krishna. A person who knows the science of Krishna is factually a bona fide spiritual master. The translation again, Vidura said, O Uddhava, because the servants of Vishnu, the Lord, wander in the interest of serving others, it is quite fit that you kindly describe the self-knowledge with which you have been enlightened by the Lord himself. So here, Vidura is inquiring from Uddhava the transcendental knowledge that Krishna passed on to Uddhava. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada describes Uddhava as a servant of the society. If we read and study the words between the lines, as they say, every line has an instruction from the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada is reminding us how we should study, how we should read, how we should understand. What is the main point or the points of this purport? So here, Srila Prabhupada describes Uddhava as the servant of the society because Uddhava has no interest in the human society, meaning Uddhava does not have interest, as Srila Prabhupada has explained here, in the matter of bodily necessities, right? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, right? He has no interest in any of that. His only interest is how to revive the self-knowledge that has been dormant in our lives for many, many, many lifetimes. Sometimes I think it's a blessing that we don't know how many lifetimes we have taken. Can be scary. Can be pretty scary. Sometimes I also think that probably it's good that we know how many lifetimes we have taken. Because in one sense, if we don't know, it's a blessing because if we knew our past lives, I think it would really scare the heck out of us. And if we do not know how many times we have been here, then we will think, another life, it doesn't hurt. I can do it again. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad living in this material world. Yeah, it's crazy, but I can handle it. I can come back again. It's okay. So it's really important that we really understand that whether it's many lives or millions of lives, the goal of life is to get out, is to get out of this repeated cycle of birth and death. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that Uddhava is saying that we are the servants of the society, not servants of society in the knowledge of how to maintain the body for our sense gratification, servants of the society to revive the knowledge that is essential, that has been dormant in our hearts, in our minds, in our lives for so many lifetimes. So Srila Prabhupada is reminding us here that each one of us right now, as we speak on this call, are servants of the society. What are we doing? What are we doing to revive the self-knowledge within us and sharing that knowledge with others? Are we just keeping it to ourselves? Or are we taking the time to share it with others so that others can also revive their relationship with Krishna that has been forgotten for so many lifetimes. So many lifetimes. Many, many, many lifetimes. What we have, we want to share, because what we have, we don't own it. It has been given to us. It has been passed down to us as a gift. And when a gift is given to us, we share it. What's coming to my mind now, my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he gets a lot of gifts. I think many sannyasis, when they travel, they get a lot of gifts from devotees and disciples, right? And it's always the necessities, like chadar, dhoti, kurta, sweater, notebook, things that they normally use. So I remember there's one gift that one devotee gave my spiritual master. I believe it was a sweater, or was it a comforter, something like that. I mean, how many sweaters can you give a person, especially a sannyasi who's always traveling? So he kept that sweater in his closet, but he never wore it because he had too many sweaters. So because that gift was given to him, he shared it with someone else. He says, not that I don't like it, I love it, but I'm a sannyasi. My service is to give and share. It's a very, simple example. But the point is, what has been given to us is to be shared to others. What has been given to us, we share it by serving others. That is the meaning of das, anudas, servant of the society, to help revive the self-knowledge, which is their transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord that has been forgotten for so many lifetimes. So many lifetimes. So we should see ourselves, each one of us, as the servants of the society. Each of us play a very important role. Just as we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, we are also servants of the society. And we have been entrusted by an amazing service. Just last week, right? We lost another proper disciple, His Grace Agnidev. I was just counting, especially in the past 2 months, how many proper disciples we have lost. I think about 7 to 8 in 2 months. And it doesn't stop there. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. It's going to continue. So what does that mean? When these great souls leave, it is our service, it is our duty to take upon the mercy and be servants of the society, each one of us, to revive the dormant transcendental relationship in the hearts of the people. Beautifully said in the second paragraph, that the real transcendental knowledge is a descending order. It comes down from disciple to disciple. So beautiful. One point that I really would like to share on is Vidur's desire to want to hear this confidential knowledge. So if we all know that Vidur is an older man, both in age and status, right? He's one of the 12 Mahajans. He is the prime minister, the minister of Duryodhan, which means he's older in age. And we all know that He's actually Yamaraj. So, he knows the right and the wrong very well, very clear. Absolutely, he knows that. But imagine Vidura, both in an elderly man, both in age and status, much older than Uddhava. Uddhava's a young man. But Vidura is humbling himself before Uddhava, who is much younger than Vidur, and asking Uddhava, please, whatever the Lord has given you, whatever Krishna has shared with you, whatever Krishna has enlightened you with Krishna consciousness, please share it with me. Teach me, show me, guide me. In this verse and purport, there's a very, very deep lesson for each one of us to embrace. And at the same time, to learn and maybe question ourselves. In the last paragraph, there is a message of Vaishnav etiquette. There's a message of Guru etiquette. There is a message of how to find a Guru. What should be my mood to find a Guru? And there's another message. Who should I listen to? Vidur was anxious to know from Uddhava that confidential and transcendental knowledge. Paramam stitim. Paramam stitim, which means the highest state of consciousness, the highest state, taste of knowledge, the highest state of existence, which is the ultimate destination. And what is our ultimate destination? To go back to Godhead so that we can be at the lotus feet, embraced in the loving arms of Sri Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan and serving him. That is the highest state. So Uddhava, being an older man, is Vidur, being the older man in age, is humbling himself before Uddhava, younger in age. Please teach me. He's begging. Please teach me. I'm anxious to know the science, the confidential, transcendental knowledge of the Lord. Please teach me. And at the same time, he's anxious. We see a beautiful sentence here by Srila Prabhupada that I'm going to highlight here. He is anxious to become a servant of Uddhava, an older, elderly man, very high in status and position and knowledge, one of the 12 Mahajans, right? Who knows the science of running a country, Radhavijaya. He's, very, very well knowledgeable, is anxious to become a servant of a young man like Uddhava. Anxious. So the key word here is anxious. Sometimes we come across situations in our material lives where our superiors are older than us, if we are younger, or our superior is younger than us and we are older. In the material world, it's very common. It's very common. In the spiritual world, so in the Krishna conscious side, sometimes we get picky. We choose. Ah, I've heard her before. I've heard his lecture before. He's younger than me. I don't need to hear it. We pick and choose. We tend to pick and choose more in the Krishna conscious part of our lives than we do in our material lives. For example, when we were, I'm sure we all have experienced this. When we were in school, whether it be elementary school, whether it be, high school, whether it be college, we have come across situations where we may not like to hear from the teacher, but we have to go to school. We can't tell our dad or mom, Daddy, I don't like the teacher because she is younger than me. I'm sure none of us have done that. We haven't done that. All our teachers, I know for me, when, the company that I used to work for about 18 years, both my managers were about 15 to 20 years younger than me. 15 to 20 years younger than me. I was not uncomfortable, thanks to, my spiritual master's mercy, but my superiors were uncomfortable because they would always tell me, you've been here for so long, 18 years, I'm just coming in, you know, and I will tell them, it's okay, you're my superior. I have no issue of taking instructions from someone younger. But as soon as we come to Krishna consciousness, we switch it. We'll say, who are you? But tell me what to do. I'm older than you. Right? That is one situation. I'm not going to mention names, but there's one situation that I know of. Two senior devotees were traveling with the spiritual master, with the guru, in preaching in the third world country. Very, very close. They traveled in their preaching to third world countries, I want to say for about 5 to 10 years. And the guru is younger, few years. I would say probably about 7, 8 years. So the guru was younger than these two devotees. But these two devotees really, really, really helped the spiritual master in his preaching activities and engagements and help and everything. Like really, really, like what a disciple would do, these two devotees did it. So one time, these two devotees were thinking of taking initiation. So they had to come and tell this guru the sad news. And what was the sad news? I'm sorry, but I cannot take initiation from you. And the guru asked why. And these two devotees said, because you're younger than us. Because you're younger than us. And I remember the debate between the guru and these two devotees. I happened to be in the house at the time when that was happening. This was back in the 90s. The guru and the two devotees were going back and forth, I want to say probably for 2, 3 hours in the spiritual master's room. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They said, we need to take initiation for someone older with gray hair. But what we forget, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead that we are worshiping is eternally youthful. Eternally youthful. Young teenage boy. Beautiful, right? Always playing the flute. And forever youthful. Now, how do we surrender to him? How do we surrender to him? Amazing. We forget to think about that. So here, Krishna is, sorry, Shiv Prabhupada is reminding us how anxious are we to learn from a devotee or from a spiritual master who is younger than us. How anxious are we to become a servant of our superior who is younger than us? How anxious are we to surrender to a superior who is younger than us? Very powerful point. Very, very powerful point. Instructions come in different ways. There is no age limit. There is no status limit. There is no degree limit. It comes in different ways. I mean, imagine this. When Krishna and Balaram were in Gurukul under Sandipani Muni, Sandipani Muni knew that the Lord was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knew it. It's not like he didn't know. Sandipani Muni knew that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, the Guru said, this is the Lord's pastimes. Who am I to teach the Lord all the science? Because he already knows that. But he's setting an example for the world, for the future, to learn how to surrender, how to learn, whom to learn from, whom to receive the transcendental knowledge. I mean, Krishna and Balaram, they learned the 64 arts in 64 days. Let's go back to our lives. How long did it take us to finish school? 12 years? College? Fine, bachelor's. 4 years? 16 years right there. If it's master's, okay, 1 to 2. That's 17, 18 years. If we decide PhD, another 1 to 2. Okay, 18, 19 years. And then we think ourselves to be, wow, I'm very smart. I know so much. I've learned so much. I've gone to the best schools. I was an A-grade student. But I can surrender. I'm not willing to listen to someone who is younger than me. Someone whom I've heard so many times. And sometimes someone who is a woman. Sometimes someone who is a young man. I'm older than him. Why must I listen to a young man? He's only 15 years my junior. Oh, I've heard this before. You know what? I get this a lot. Oh, Anasuya, I've heard this before. I don't need to attend this class again. What we forget is Srila Prabhupada, when he wrote all the books, he told his disciple, I didn't write the book. Krishna wrote the book. Krishna was sitting on my shoulder and writing the books. And when the books came out of the printer, Srila Prabhupada would read the books that he wrote, and his disciples will ask him, Srila Prabhupada, but you wrote the book. Why are you reading it? And Srila Prabhupada would say, I didn't write the book. Krishna wrote the book. He was sitting on me, on my shoulder, and he was writing the book. I was just an instrument. I remember my spiritual master, early days of ISKCON, when I first joined. This was in Gitanagari. And every day for Bhagavatam class, at the time we were living with my spiritual master for almost two and a half to 3 years. And every day for Bhagavatam class, my husband would be the driver, him, and then I would hop in the car as a backseat passenger. And every time after Bhagavatam class, he would ask us who came to class and who did not come to class. He would do a checklist. And then if so-and-so is not in class, he would tell us, go find out why that devotee didn't come to class. So I used to wonder at that time, why was he doing that? Is he trying to keep tap on us? Like a watchdog, right? Like a spy, like, oh my God, this is like pretty intense. Like as like you're on a roll call every morning. Yes, present. Yes, present. You're on a roll call. Then I asked my senior god sister, why does Gurudev does that? And she said, because he's helping us to learn to listen, to develop the science of Shravanam, because we are still babies. We are still babies and we are learning how to listen. We haven't, We haven't excelled in the transcendental knowledge. We're still in the learning stages. So while we are learning, we have to surrender. We have to be anxious. So the spiritual master is the spiritual police officer. The spiritual master is the spiritual cop who's keeping an eye on us. Who's coming, who's not coming, who's listening, who's not listening, why they are not listening, what they were doing when they are not listening. Are they doing something else when they're supposed to be in class? The second thing is that who are we to choose who to listen from? There was one senior devotee in Atlanta, a disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Swami, Mother Gita. Amazing speaker. I love her classes. Really love her classes. She one time gave a class about 3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago, and she said, we come across situations with devotees where when the guru is giving class, then everybody shows up. When their favorite celebrity speaker gives class, everybody shows up. But when it's a person that they're like, I don't know about the speaker. He's younger than me. I've heard his classes. I don't need to hear it. We start being selective. She said, when we develop the mood of selective hearing, that means our chanting is not good. Our chanting is not good. Of course, our hearing is not good. Our reading is not good. And our association is not good. We want to associate, if we want to get out of this crazy world that we live in, if we want, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the first paragraph, right, that Uddhava is spreading the science of Krishna consciousness to everybody for human welfare, to help them to revive the spiritual knowledge, to get out. This is not your place. This home is not your home. You're just passing through. He's going around. Imagine the Supreme Lord has given him the supreme truth. He has given Uddhava the supreme truth. And Uddhava is distributing the supreme truth to everybody. So we should be anxious. The key word in the second paragraph is anxious. Do we have that desire, that intense desire, that anxiousness to want to learn? Do we have that anxiousness to want to become a servant? Do we have that anxiousness to want to surrender? Or do we have selective desire? Not this, but that. In America, we use the term, that we, whoever's going to speak, we will first size them up. How old's the guy? Who's the guru? How long have they been initiated? How long have they been speaking? What do they know? Is they my age? When did they join? We go through all that before we're ready to hear. By the time we go through all that, what's the word? We go through all that questioning in our mind, sadly, we have lost the mercy of wanting to hear. It blocks. Once we start having the selective hearing, selective reading, selective chanting, and association, and we have blocked the mercy from flowing. To the degree we want to surrender, to that degree the mercy flows. To the degree we are anxious to become a servant of the Lord's devotees, to that degree the mercy flows. To the degree we are anxious to want to surrender, to that degree the mercy flows. If we are selective, we're not going to learn much. We're not going to learn much. So here Srila Prabhupada is teaching us, Vidur was older than Uddhava, but he was anxious to become a servant of Uddhava. Anxious. I have to say, I had a god sister, senior god sister. Her name was Mother Indrani. Sri Devi, I don't know whether she's online, but Sri Devi knows her very well. She left her body.
I'm very much
Shortly.
here. I'm listening very
There you go.
carefully. I
So
just have to keep
so you
quiet.
met Mother Indrani, right? So you know how she was much older than my spiritual master. And Sri Devi, Mother Indrani left her body a few years after my spiritual master left his body. And when she took initiation, Mother Indrani was 64 years old. And my spiritual master was about 42 years old, early 40s. But Madandrani surrendered. She was anxious. Oh my God, Sri Devi can testify. Madandrani was at the temple every morning with her cane from Mangalarti up until breakfast. Mangalarti, Tulsi Puja, Guru Puja, Japa, greeting of the deities, Bhagavatam class, up until the end. Amazing. There was literally 22 years of difference between Mother Indrani and my spiritual master. But she was anxious to surrender. She was anxious to become a servant. She was anxious to learn the confidential knowledge. She was anxious. Young or old, she did not mind. Young or old, she did not mind. She was always. No, Bhakti Swami left his body at the age of 55, not 45. He was born in 1950. This is a question that I'm responding to Amritanam on the WhatsApp. He was born in 1915. He left in 2005. So he was 55 years when he left his body. But yeah, so yes, so she was amazing. She was literally amazing. So when I was reading this purport, I could only think of Mother Indrani, my senior god sister, because she was much older than my spiritual master. Another one that I know of is another god brother of mine who lives in ISKCON, Baltimore, Sankirtan Yagna. He's older than my spiritual master. Few years. I wouldn't say probably 3-4 years. Yes. So here, Prabhupada is teaching us how we should not size up devotees when it comes to hearing, how we should not be selective when it comes to having the desire to want to become a servant, to hear the confidential knowledge. Srila Prabhupada is teaching us how we should not be selective in our reading, how we should not be selective in our association, how we should not be selective in service, especially in service. Sometimes I hear devotees saying, "Oh, Mataji, I'm not willing to clean, but I'm willing to give class." Oh, I've heard that, believe it or not. I've heard that because sometimes we think as soon as we have taken initiation, I'm qualified to give class. One proper disciple one time told me, as soon as we get initiation, that means we have gone back to being a fetus, an embryo. Initiation comes from the word initial, which means beginning. So if we are 6 months after initiation, we are 6-month-old baby. If we are 1 year after initiation, we are 1-year-old. But sometimes we think, no, I'm initiated, so I can do so many things. I don't need to listen. I don't need to hear. I don't need to go to this class. I don't need to go to that class. I don't need to do the service. I don't need to clean the floor. I don't need to clean the bathrooms. I have to give class. But look at Vidur. Vidur was anxious to become the servant of Uddhava. Anxious. So to conclude, we all should develop the mindset in our spiritual lives. And what is the mindset? Anxious, very anxious to become the servant of the Lord's devotees, young or old. Very anxious to hear the confidential knowledge from someone who is factually conversant with the science of Krishna, young or old. We have to be anxious to want to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master, young or old. We have to be in the emergency consciousness. Very important, especially in this day and age of Kali Yuga. It's getting crazy out there. We really need the mercy of the spiritual master, really. So this was my reflection, my thoughts as I was preparing for the class, is how I can be anxious to want to become the servant of the Lord's devotees, young or old, anxious to surrender, young or old, and anxious to hear and learn and receive the confidential knowledge, young or old. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Chandramali Swami ki jai. I'm going to stop sharing and request devotees, if you have any questions, any comments, please do raise your hand. And Yes, Sunil. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji, for so beautiful class. It was for me only. You were doing heart surgery, I would say. Thank you so much, Mataji. Regarding that, you said no, we should not select the speakers. I have seen in myself only when the favorite speakers come, the enthusiasm is completely different when the other speakers are there. So what can be done? Not only in speakers and everything, like the topic for the class. If it is about the Putana, the thought comes, oh, I already heard this topic. I don't need to hear. I'll hear other lecture of that speaker. So what can be done?
Force ourselves to hear it. So I'll give you an example, Prabhu. Very nice question, actually, because we all go through that. When we when we are in school and we are in a classroom and the teacher is giving a class on algebra, and we already know that particular topic in algebra, but we cannot get up and leave the classroom, can we? We
Yes, Mataji.
cannot. Exactly. We have to sit. We have to sit. Whether we like it or not, we have to sit through the class. We cannot say, teacher, you know what, so and so, ma'am, so and so, doctor, so and so, mister. I know the science of, I've learned this in my class last year. Can I skip this class? He's going to say, sit down. When we hear something over and over again, we get new realization. I have personally experienced that. Personally, when I read the same Bhagavad Gita verse 3 times, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time, I was like, whoa, I didn't hear it this time. Now I'm hearing from this other angle. Wow, I'm getting this new realization. I never thought of it last year about that. Oh, wow, I'm getting another reflection. I never thought of it that way before. That is why Srila Prabhupada says when we read his books, he used the word scrutinizingly. Scrutinizingly means we really study, we dissect it. We dissect it, we operate it, we cut it up, we open it up for discussion, right? So the same thing applies for hearing. When we start thinking that way, that means we have to improve our chanting. Our chanting is not focused, it's not attentive, it's not clear. Therefore, that will cause us to develop this mood of, I've heard this class before, I've heard this verse before, so I don't need to hear it. But I'll tell you something. This is the beauty of ISKCON. Every spiritual master, Sri Devi can testify to this, every spiritual master can speak one verse in 10,000 ways. That is the beauty of the variegatedness of ISKCON. Because why? Krishna himself is full of variety. Krishna himself is full of variety. So how is it that our gurus cannot be full of variety? Absolutely. The gurus are direct representative of Krishna. Direct. So they can give classes with full variegatedness. If you pick Radhanath Swami, he's going to give a class on this verse very different from Chandramali Swami. And from Chandramali Swami, he's going to give a class on the same verse very different from, say, Jayapataka Swami. That's the beauty of ISKCON, variegatedness. So when we feel that we don't want to hear the class because we have heard it before, then it's time for us to ask myself, and I really believe in self-introspection. I'm very much a believer of that. Ask ourselves, wait, why is it that I don't want to hear this class? Because I've heard the verse before. But wait, who's giving this class? Is some other devotee. I'm sure he is going to tell me something that I haven't learned or heard before. Now, then you go for the class. Now, Krishna is going to trick you. Krishna, remember, he's an eternal youth and he's the biggest prankster. Biggest prankster. He's going to tell you, Oh, Sunil, so you thought that you're going to come and hear something new from the same verse that you heard last week. I'm going to trick you. I'm going to give you the same message because you haven't learned it from the last class. So you're going to hear it again because you haven't perfected it. So that's how Krishna works. If we haven't learned the signs of that same verse from a different speaker, if we hear that same exact knowledge from another speaker, that Miss Krishna is saying, there's so much more for you to learn from this verse. Sit and hear. Make yourself hear. Because it's for you. And I'll conclude with this to answer Sunil's question. My spiritual master one time said, if we have heard a class over and over again on the same verse, and we still haven't gotten it, that means the class is meant for us. So I hope that helped, Sunil. Hope that helped.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. It was so
Thank you.
practical. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Amrita now, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, my humble
Hare
obeisance
Krishna.
to all glories to
Jai.
Shri Prabhupada.
Jai.
Such a wonderful class, Mataji.
Mercy of my
When
spiritual
you
master.
when you were calling Krishna a trickster, I could recall the Bhagavad Gita's 10.36, Dyutam Chalayatam Ashmi. So
Full
he
of
is a
tricks.
cheater of the cheats, and I always love this.
Expert
So
cheater. Expert.
yeah, that's my favorite line actually. Dyutam Chalayatam Ashmi. So I
Expert.
could recall that. And of course, I wanted to tell you that the purport has many other things, but very intricate thing you pointed out and expanded on that, which is like we should not underestimate uh, uh, you know other speakers. They are equally doing sadhana, uh, giving their full potential to Krishna consciousness. So we should be eager to hear from them. But here the question for me, I'm thinking is once in Guru Maharaj's class, Guru Maharaj said that we should try to stick to maximum 2 to 3 speakers, not too much. It would become like wanderlust kind of thing, even
Absolutely
in knowledge.
100% I agree with them.
So how do we connect with what you mentioned in the purport and then relating it what Guru Maharaj says?
Wonderful message from Maharaj, and actually that is the same instruction that my spiritual master gave his disciples. The reason the gurus give that instruction is because we are still learning to grow. Unless we are strong in our Krishna consciousness, we should not hear from too many speakers. It's going to confuse us. For example, if we have a challenge in a science class, in chemistry, for example, and we don't understand the professor, and we need tutoring, and we go find a tutor, and the tutor is going to break it down so simple that we can understand the professor. So we have only 2 teachers. But if we go to so many tutors, every tutor is going to give you a different way to solve that chemistry problem. And then at one point, you're going to say, now, which strategy do I use to solve this problem? It's going to confuse us. So at least in the early stages of our Krishna consciousness, it's very important that we limit the speakers until we strengthen our devotional creeper. We will come to a stage, and it's not going to happen overnight. I'll be honest with you. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen over a few years. It's going to take some time until we are strong enough spiritually to know that, yes, if I hear from someone else, I'm ready to take it. But for that, even for that, we need our either the spiritual master, if he's around, and if he's not around, a spiritual mentor, Shiksha Guru. We cannot decide on our own. Like I'll tell you from my example, this might surprise many of you in this group. The first class that I gave, I'm talking about behind a mic, was 23 years after my date of initiation. I did not give class after 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, or 23 years after after I got initiated. And I'll tell you why. Because I never felt I was qualified. I never felt that I knew anything. I would always tell my senior, I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm going to speak. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to end. I don't know where to turn. She says, Anasuya, chill. You know. So but really, it was my seniors and my GBC. It was my GBC that told me, Anasuya, it's time for you to give class. I said, Prabhu, do I have to? He goes, yeah, you have to. She said, you've been around too long. I'm like, oh God, you know? So that forced me because he felt I was ready. I will never use the word qualified, but he felt I was ready, 23 years after I joined in 92, isn't it? I think. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. My first class was in 2016. Way after that. And I did a lot of hearing. Why? Because, again, going back to that strength, it's like a root. When you plant the seed in the ground, you water that root. That root has to be strong enough to grow and hold the branches. So is my root strong enough to hear from other speakers and not go astray? Because what happens is when we hear from too many people, we can get pulled, we can get confused, and we might even turn it into a khichdi, what Maharaj calls spiritual khichdi. I love that phrase. We can turn it into a khichdi. So we have to make it very simple, And if we are not sure who to listen to, ask the spiritual master. What happens is nowadays we go looking wanderlust, and because social media is so easily available, right? We just do a search, speaker, speaker, but we don't ask. See, the problem in today's time, Amritanam, is that we either fail to ask, or we avoid to ask, or we think that we know better, but we need to ask our seniors, should I listen from the speaker where I am at in my spiritual life? My Guru Maharaj was very strict on that with us, even my seniors. She said, no, Anasuya, I remember Vrajalila, my senior god sister. At one point, there was one speaker that was giving class. This was in Gitanagri. And she told many of us, don't listen. You're still a baby. You're not ready for this high knowledge. And we listened. But nowadays, we don't ask. She's listening, so I listen. Blind follow the blind. It's very common now. It's so common. Blind follow the blind. She listen, I'm going to listen. No. We have to ask our seniors. We should ask our spiritual master, can I listen to this class? Can I listen from this not class speaker? Let them guide you. Until we are able to hold the whole tree, the root is strong, then we're like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. This doesn't make sense. I'm going to take it out, but the others are good. Making sense, Amrita? The initial years, definitely very limited. Very limited. I would say at least about 10, 20 years. I'll be honest. I hardly listen to any speakers for good 20 years of my Krishna consciousness. It was only after that I started branching out.
Mm.
It's
Yes,
very
yes.
important. We cannot confuse the heart and the mind because it takes a second to get confused. It takes only a split of a second to get confused. And it takes a lifetime to fix all that confusion. Then we have to bother
Yes.
Sri Devi for psychology help to unravel all that mix that khichdi.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this
Thank
elaborated
you.
answer. I got it.
Thank you. Very nice question. Very nice question. Haribol. Yes, Sri
Thank
Devi. Haribol.
Wow, what a powerful class. Your Guru Maharaj will be so happy to see his
He's
little
right in
girl
front of
all
me.
grown up now, all grown up now and teaching all of us. Wow.
No,
He's
he's right in front
exceptional
of me.
ability.
Except my
He's
August of
exceptional
Prabhupada.
ability since he's
Whenever I
Anasuya,
give
all glory
classes,
to
I make sure
Prabhupada.
that his picture's in front of me all the time. He's right in
Very
front
good.
of me.
Very good. Jai. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. Yes,
Chantamani Swami ki jai.
I remember the old Gita Nagari days, and I recall how particular Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was about protecting his disciples and making sure that they had strong support of the older disciples so that
Yeah.
nice mentoring and coaching, etc., would happen. I very well remember Mother Indrani. She was 66, isn't it, when she came to Krishna consciousness, according
60, no,
to.
she was 60, 62. She got initiated when she was 64.
Oh, okay. And what a
And my
powerful
Guru Maharaj
spiritual
was 40
journey.
something, early
Right,
40s.
right. I was thinking back to those times when, for us, at least for me, it was considered just the standard practice to go for Mangalarti every day, to do the whole
Yeah,
japa, just like how Mother Indrani. It was just standard practice that we
yeah.
just did that. It's not something, exotic or fantastic or wonderful. It was just normal practice. You wake up
It's
early,
part of
you go for
life.
Mangalarti. Yes, you chant your rounds with all the senior devotees in the temple room so that you are getting encouraged, because when you see all the seniors chanting, it really boosts your confidence in chanting. Then you attend darshanarti, you attend class, and the whole thing, after Guru Puja, like that. So sometimes I worry that as the time is going, younger and younger devotees are hardly getting any connection with the temple, what to speak of a very solid morning program. So, without a very solid morning program, how, as you said, our roots, how the roots will grow deep in the ground without that solid morning program? Because Prabhupada gave us the morning program for that reason.
It
He called
won't
it the
grow.
sandwich.
The thing
Yeah,
is, Devi,
it
it
will
won't
not,
grow.
well, it might grow, but it'll be weak and spindly.
Very weak. Very weak. Extremely weak. And
So,
that is the reason why I think what is missing in today's time, Sri Devi, is training and educating.
yeah, but the world, how fragmented it has become. How many devotees live close to a temple? They live far away. They cannot come to the temple, or even if they come to the temple, hardly three people are in the temple. There's one pujari on the altar, one person playing mridanga, one person doing tulsi aarti. It's like, even if I go to the temple now, there's nobody, Mataji, like that. Sometimes I hear these things.
It's true.
Of course, there are
It's
many
true.
robust temples which are very vibrant. Mangalarti, you'll have hundreds of people over there. That's also there. I'm not saying all temples are like that, but
True.
the reality is so many young. When I say young, I mean newer devotees are hardly connected to the temple for a morning program. Most of them are struggling at home on their own. So just
Completely.
imagine what's happening to the sadhana level of those who are chanting alone at home. What's happening to the association, the service mentality, the reading, all those things. it definitely gets enhanced when you're closely in touch with devotees, when you're attending a temple program, etc. So, what are your thoughts about strengthening these practices for those devotees who live far away from a temple or who cannot come for morning program?
So what I have seen at least some temples in US, because that actually I don't know in the other countries, but it's definitely a common problem in US, a very, very common problem, because there are so many working professional devotees, and they all don't have time. So what temples have done in North America is once a month, either a Saturday or a Sunday, they encourage the whole community to attend Mangalarti that day, once a month. And that has been going pretty well. Then slowly, that's the first thing in, like, ISKCON Philly does that, which ISKCON Connecticut does that. ISKCON Boston does. There are a few temples that started doing that, and other temples in North America, including myself, we're gonna start doing that, because that is the foundation of our day. Without that foundation, the house is not going to be strong. Like any house, if you don't have a solid cement black slab foundation, the house is going to be blown by that story, the story of the wolf and three little pigs. The wolf is going to blow it down. The house is not going to stand up. So we need that Mangalarti. So one, I think what would help is if temples can set like 1 month, 1 day a month, the beginning stages, one Saturday or one Sunday, where everybody can come out for Mangalarti. That's number one. Number two, I remember Bhakti Swami mentioning what we are going through today with young people. Believe it or not, Bhakti Swami saw that happening 20 years ago. He mentioned in class in New Vrindavan. He says, in the next 10, when was that? It was in the early 2000s. Oh, more than 20 years ago. Wow, Krishna. Yeah, it was early 2000s in New Vrindavan, in the month of May. I remember that. He said, in the next coming years, temples are going to face situations where hardly anybody or nobody will come for Mangalarti. It is going to be a Grihastha based ISKCON. And everybody is going to be sitting in their homes and doing their own program. He foresaw that. Now, again, I'm talking 20 something years ago. Look, we are seeing it happening now. So what he said one devotee said what we should ask this question, March, what should we do? Because that's what Prabhupada taught. He says, we seniors, the older devotees, have to grab 2-3 young people under their wings and tell them, encourage them to come. Let's go to the temple one Sunday a week or one Sunday a month. Like we grab it, like we have to be the mother hen, put them under our arms. Because if you think about it, that's what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada did that. Prabhupada did that. When he was giving class, and when one of his disciples was upstairs doing deity worship in his room, and Prabhupada was giving class, and Prabhupada asked one of the devotees, where is so and so and so? And this devotee said, oh, Prabhupada, he's upstairs doing deity service. He says, there's no point of him doing service if he's not going to hear from his guru. Tell him to come down and stop that deity service. So we have to be the mother hand, like we have to make sure. And that's what Prabhupada did. That's what our gurus did. That's what our seniors did. So and to be honest with you, it is going to come to a point where the torch is going to be given to us in our hand, and we just have to run with it. We can't say, okay, torch, do I put you down or light you or run with you, So we have to take that initiative, like what was said in the verse. We have to be the servants of the society to revive the transcendental knowledge that has been dormant in the lives of the devotees and wake them up. Jeev Jago. That's what Lord Chaitanya did. Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. He would get up and go down the streets and sing loud down the streets of Bengal. Jeev Jago. That's what we have to do. So we have a bigger role than what we think we do. We have a much bigger role. And with so many proper disciples leaving their bodies, we have no choice but to take that role. We have no choice but to step in those shoes and fulfill Prabhupada's mission. And if we have to be the mother hen, we got to be the mother hen. And but we got to take small baby steps, like let's start with one Mangalarti a month. Just one. And I'll be honest, sometimes it may take where, you just tell, okay, like what one devotee does here is that, she has a van. I'm going to pick you up. You all get ready. I'll pick you up. You're going to go to the temple. It may take that. Is it a sacrifice? You bet it is. But who are we sacrificing for? For Srila Prabhupada, for our spiritual master, and for the devotees of the Lord. And sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes that. And then slowly we'll go to twice a month. Then slowly we go to 3 times a month. Then slowly we go to 4 times a month. That's how we, baby steps, organic baby steps. But it's really important because if we don't go back to the sandwich program that Srila Prabhupada gave us, it's very, very difficult for the devotional creeper to grow much. It's going to be very slow. Either it's going to be stagnant, plateau, It's going to be very, very, very slow. And then at the end, we wonder why we didn't make it, because we didn't push ourselves. And another point, Sri Devi, is we have to be in that emergency consciousness. Ask ourselves, am I in that emergency consciousness? Am I really, really urgent for Krishna consciousness? Am I really, really emergent? Do I have that emergency need for Krishna consciousness? Do I have that urgency need for Krishna consciousness? Like we have to treat the emergency Krishna consciousness like we are running to the emergency room at the hospital. I need help. When something happens to us, when the doctors can't see us for about a week or 2, what do? We run to the emergency room for help because I need help right now. And that's how we should treat for spiritual lives. We have to run to the emergency room. And the emergency room can be anything from chanting. I need help. I got to pick up my beads. I need help. I need to calm my mind. My mind is so disturbed. The chanting is going to calm my mind. Or let me read. That's going to calm my mind. Or I need to pick up the phone and call the right devotee that's going to help me calm my mind, not a devotee who's a gossiper. Because believe me, you will find devotees who are also gossipers. And you'll find devotees who will throw more fire in your heart when there's already fire in your heart. You want them to douse the fire. So we got to call the right devotee. I'm in emergency help. I need a devotee. I need to call the right devotee to help me calm myself down. Who can I call? Who can I reach out to? That emergency consciousness. And the more we live, the more we operate our Krishna consciousness in that mood, then the more we can make the roots of our Bhakti Lata Beach, the tree of our devotion, stronger. Let's start once a month of Mangalarti. Just once a month. Just one Saturday a month or Sunday. Any day. Pick any day. I'm just saying weekends because some people work, but we can pick any day, just once a month, one morning a month. And then slowly increase it. But do it with others. It's very hard because like I sometimes say, we're not Babajis. Okay, fine. I'm not a Babaji. I'm not a Babaji. And I cannot do it on my own. I need my alarm clock to go to wake me up because I'll be, we need help. So we need to ask help when we feel like we are slipping. We need to ask help when we feel, can you be my buddy? Let's go to the temple together. I always encourage that. Let's go to the temple together. I'll pick you up or you pick me up. Build that buddy system. It really, really, really works because we can help each other. We can help each other. We can hold each other's hands and we can walk that journey together. And if I slip, someone's going to pick me up. If you slip, I'm going to pick you up. But we help each other. I hope that helped, Shridevi. That was a very long, apologize for the long response, but I hope that helped. But yeah.
Oh, definitely. I think what you have said is very practical and very important, that somehow the other congregations coming together, at least attending once a month, and senior devotees trying to help those who want to come to Mangalarti, giving them encouragement, giving them assistance like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Hare
Shridev. It's
Krishna.
a very powerful question because that has been my concern too. Thank you. Any other questions before we conclude? Any thoughts? Yes, Daria. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances all go to
Accept
Srila
mine. Always a
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Guru Maharaj, thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. It was so
Mercy
amazing.
of my spiritual master.
No,
Nothing
really
is mine.
amazing. I was thinking when you were talking about if we become more selective, then we block the mercy of Krishna. But how, for example, when we talk about being the servant of the servant, how do we serve the devotees without being taken advantage of?
That's a very good point. Very good point. There's a verse in chapter 2, I think, about tolerance of Bhagavad Gita. And sometimes when I think it's 214 or 241, sometimes devotees get confused with tolerance. Sometimes we think tolerance means treat me as a doormat. You can walk all over me and take advantage of me. I'll still keep on serving you. No, that's not what tolerance means. Tolerance means that we humble ourselves to do the service. We don't allow ourselves to be kicked around. Big difference. Big difference. Because sometimes we think, okay, even if that person is a drinker, I'm going to serve you. You know, even if that person is an abuser, I'm going to serve you. No, that doesn't mean that way. Tolerance means humbler. See, tolerance and humility go hand in hand. We allow ourselves to be the servant of the Lord. We are not allowing ourselves to be kicked around. So big difference. Big difference. Krishna did not say, allow yourself to be kicked around. Krishna said, be the servant of the Lord and the devotees, not be kicked around. Big difference. And sometimes we have to step away from situations where devotees take advantage. We have to do that. And sometimes I have come across situations where my seniors have told me, Anasuya, you got to step away because he or she is taking advantage of you. But I couldn't see it because I just thought, keep on serving, the Lord's going to bless you. Keep on serving, the Lord's going to bless you. But then my senior said to me, yes, the Lord is blessing you. But now, I remember one of my god sister told me, Anasuya, the Lord is blessing you. You're getting the mercy, but you know what? Now the Lord is blessing you by me telling you, stop. You see what I mean? Yeah. The
Yes,
Lord
thank you so much.
speaks in different ways. The Lord communicates through his devotees in different ways. So we are meant to be servants of the Lord, not doormats and be kicked around. See, because tolerance also involves a two-way reciprocation. If we are serving devotees humbler than the straw on the street, there is some reciprocation. That's devotional service. That's devotional service. We will feel something. But kicking around is not humbler than a blade of grass. Krishna never said that. I hope that helped, Daria.
Very much. Thank you so much. You
Thank
really opened my eyes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prachi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much. Thank you so much. You mentioned about being anxious. Anxious. You highlighted that word, anxious to listen.
Yes.
That stood, for me, it was the highlight of your class today. Anxious to listen Krishna's name while we are chanting, right? Anxious to listen from senior devotees. Anxious to listen from realized souls is without criticizing. Sometimes we start criticizing people. So that anxiousness actually has to be well rooted uh, in uh, in the right sort of qualities to do Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam. You also mentioned about the blade of grass and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he says, Tranada Pisuni Chena. And I was thinking, the grass is so soft and so delicate and so green and inviting. And when somebody steps on the grass, it just bends down. But as soon as the person goes away, it's standing up again, right? It's that's the resilience, and that's the limit of tolerance. Like if you're tolerating somebody which is actually destroying your core and your actual the being, then that is not acceptable. When
Yes.
somebody is using you in such a way that your nature doesn't change, you actually flourish and you learn, then that's actual service, right? So thank you so much.
That's a very good point that you mentioned, because the more we practice the four basics, the four grounds of Krishna consciousness, what I call the ABCD. A is association,
Mm-hmm.
B is books, reading, C is chanting, D is devotional service. The more we strengthen ourselves in that, no matter what others do to us, we can stand up straight and become strong again. No one can bring us down.
Mm.
No one can bring us down. It all starts with Shraddha,
Mm.
the first step of the 9 process of Bhakti Yoga. The firmer, the stronger we are, no one can bend us and no one can shake us. They step on us, we'll come back again. They step us, we're going to come back again. We're going to bounce back again. Yes, it's that faith. And that depends on who we associate with people who are strong spiritually. The chanting, we associate with those who love to chant. We associate with those who love to hear the right thing, that is. And then we associate with those who love to do service. Then we get that beautiful spiritual disease of, strong Krishna consciousness. Yeah, very good point, Prachi. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
to you,
Appreciated
Mataji.
that.
Thank
Thank you. Haribo. Yes, Amrita now.
Just a follow-up, Mataji, from what
Yes.
Daria was asking.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned that tolerance should be two-sided. There should be reciprocation also in tolerance.
Yes.
So I was just wondering, if we are talking about reciprocation in tolerance, then isn't it like expecting something?
So what I meant, that's a very good question to ask. So what I meant by reciprocation is this: sometimes when we do service, for example, I go through this quite a bit actually. Whenever we cook for Sunday feast, and somebody tells you, man, the dal was so good. The sabji was really nice. And At least for me, what happens is I lose my hunger. The reason being is that devotees have eaten so well that I don't have to eat, reciprocation. You know what I'm saying? It's not more expectation. Seeing the devotees happy, we know Krishna is happy. So the point is, we have been told when the guru is pleased, when the devotees are pleased, the guru is pleased. When the guru is pleased, Krishna is pleased. That is a reciprocation. It's not so much of expecting, oh, are you pleased? Are you pleased? At the same level, when we serve, in our hearts, we'll be thinking, Krishna, are you pleased? Did I do it really well? Are you happy? If not, where should I improve? Please tell me. Reciprocation. Because reciprocation is not always about, man, you did a good job, Amritanam. It's about, did I do well and where should I improve? So I can do better. That is the reciprocation, because we're all at the learning stages, and we will learn until our last breath. And every moment of our learning is a reciprocation. Because if we don't learn, then there's nothing coming from the opposite direction. And reciprocation is not always, oh, wow, you did a good job. It's about, you can do better. That is reciprocation. We just have this mindset that reciprocation means something good is coming, like a praise, a thank you, a glory, a wow. No, reciprocation can mean interaction. Like, for example, like if a devotee, like I just was telling my husband the other day, I said, I was talking to this devotee and we really reciprocated well. What does that mean? We had a good talk. That's reciprocation. Now, what the talk involved, it can be trying to clear up a misunderstanding. It can be clearing up a misjudgment. It can be clearing up a misconception, but it was a good reciprocation. Yeah. So that's what I meant by reciprocation. I hope that helped, Amritanam.
Yes, I think as I'm understanding, it is a satisfactory interaction.
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah. But no, reciprocation is, what's there more for me? Wasn't it there for me? What's more? What's more? What's more? Please tell me, because the way we grow is we need reciprocation. We need something telling us. And it can be, don't wipe it this way, do it better. Thank you for letting me know. I've got a reciprocation. Reciprocate,
Yeah,
Totally.
even open for development. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's Krishna consciousness. We want to grow. We want to grow. We want to grow. We want to grow. We want to develop. We want to really become better. But that can only happen if we are open to, see, because the word reciprocation comes from reception. We have to be open to reception. If there is no reception, how do we grow? How do we develop? But the reception is two-way, reciprocation. Want to receive. Yeah. Hope that helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Very nice question. Thank you.
For explaining so elaborately. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll be honest with you. It just popped into my head by the mercy of my guru. Believe it or not, I'm not joking. Not at all joking. Seriously.
I believe it. I believe it.
It just pops into my head. Mercy of the spiritual master. Any other questions? I'm just going to wrap up. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody before we conclude the class. Thank you. Okay. Thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of Chandramani Swami. I hope he's happy. I hope he's pleased wherever he's doing his preaching. And thank you all for joining us. Vanchakaptibhyascha, kripasindhabevacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Chandramali Swami ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Praise Anasuya Mataji
Thank
ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Haribo.
Hare
Mataji, for the
Haribo.
wonderful class and nice discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. By your mercy. Hari Haribo.
Hari
Thank
Hari
you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Anupriya.
Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
devotees.
Sri
Hare
Devi.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you, Mataji.
I can only say hats off, Anasuya. That's all.
It's completely the mercy of my guru. I tell you, it's without him, I'll probably do something else. But swear to God,
I
he
agree.
keeps me engaged. He never keeps me bored. No, he got me right around his finger so tight. He won't let me
Yeah.
off. Haribo.
Haribo.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much.